All right, awesome. So we'll start the meeting now. Thanks for everyone
Okay,
for
sweet.
coming. This topic for this meeting is going to be on industry impact, and our regional coordinator, Jordan, she's going to give a presentation on that.
Okay. So should I just jump into it or?
And yeah, you can
Okay,
screen
sweet.
share.
So let's see, share my screen. Okay. So can you guys see industry impact?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
You can see it? Okay, perfect. All right, so before I start, I just want to explain a little about industry impact. It's not specifically sidewalk counseling. So I know you want like a specific training on sidewalk counseling, and I can try to plan to bring in a speaker like from Sidewalk Advocates for Life, but we don't focus in so particularly on sidewalk counseling as a whole. So this is more just on how to impact the abortion industry and decrease their clientele and their ability to offer abortion. So that's what this is mainly on, but we will touch on sidewalk advocacy, and I'll try to go into more detail than just what our PowerPoint has, because that is kind of my area of expertise is sidewalk advocacy. That's what I was doing. That's what I do most on a regular basis in the pro-life movement, is going to sidewalks and being there and offering the resources to women and kind of talking to the people who come up to you. So I'll go more into detail as much as I can about sidewalk advocacy itself. But it is going to be on just the abortion industry in general and how to raise awareness of the evil that they are doing and try to counteract that with pro-life services and outreach. Okay. So yeah, this is one of our pillars. Industry impact is like a specific pillar in sidewalk in Students for Life. So we have like a whole group, a whole initiative dedicated to that. Okay. So first I'm going to explain the mission of it, which I sort of already did, and then we're going to discover why it's important to actually engage. I know it can sometimes seem like kind of a losing battle in how powerful they are, but each little bit counts. So it is really important to focus on the fact that any kind of thing you're doing to counteract the abortion industry is going to make an impact on someone or some organization, especially in your schools, because there are a lot of abortion-minded people and they just don't really know the truth about abortion. And so the more you raise awareness of what's actually going on in the abortion industry, the more you're going to impact people's minds. A lot of people don't realize, that abortion is happening even all the way up to birth in some states. Most people just think, okay, no, it's only when the baby's very new in the womb and they can't feel pain, but that's not true. There's so many things about the abortion industry that people just don't know, and so they think they're pro-choice. And then when you actually raise awareness of what being pro-choice means, it kind of hits them like, that's sort of like being pro-murder, because it is. So the more you can raise awareness and engage people in what the abortion industry is doing, the more you're going to have an impact. And it is important just to think that every little bit helps. And then, yeah, so you want to know what the mission of what industry impact is, that it's important to engage, and then how you're going to engage in that mission. So you want to make sure you have a plan in your group to really combat the abortion industry at your school and in your community. So we're going to go over ideas and strategies for that. Okay, so the mission of industry impact is to expose the abortion industry, and a lot of people don't really understand what it means to call it an industry, but it is, because they are actually profiting and making money off of abortion. They're selling abortions to people. That's why birth control is actually part of the abortion industry, is because places like Planned Parenthood, they are promoting birth control because they know that a lot of the time the birth control is going to fail, and what's going to happen is they're going to get more and more clients actually coming in for abortions. So we want to reduce the ability for people to have, or reduce birth control, raise awareness for why birth control actually isn't effective and helpful to the body, and just expose the fact that the abortion industry is using birth control and selling abortion, and they're really just doing it for money. They're not thinking about women. and helping and wanting to help women, because in truth it isn't helping women. So they're actually just doing it for profit and to make money. And they always say, oh, it's only 3% of our services, but that's not true. Planned Parenthood does make their money off of abortions. And what happens is when a woman comes into an abortion clinic, they give her the abortion and they offer like a goodie bag of like 8 different things that they call services. So they say we only gave 1 abortion and 8 or 9 other services, but really what they're selling and how they're making money is through the abortion. And then they also offer like STD testing and birth control, but they just know that in selling birth control, they're just going to get girls to come right back, because they actually are known for giving very ineffective birth control on purpose so that it will fail and people will come back in as their clients. And yeah, so you will encounter a lot of women who don't really know what they're doing, especially on the sidewalks. So that's one way you can really get involved. For the first way to expose the abortion industry is on the sidewalk. So you're going to want to, if you can, especially now with 40 Days for Life coming up, you're going to want to be there on the sidewalk, very compassionately and peacefully talking to these women and showing them that there are other resources for them and that abortion is not the only choice they have. It's really good to be aware of the pregnancy centers in the area that you can actually refer them to and say, I know a place where you can actually get a free pregnancy test and free ultrasounds, and they can, a lot of these places give very limited cost prenatal packages, and they'll walk you through the whole pregnancy and give you counseling and help you with planning to be a parent. And then some of these pregnancy centers actually help these parents even till their baby's up to 15 months old. So there's a lot of help, and it's actually very low cost and sometimes free. So you can be showing these women, actually, this isn't your only choice, and we have options to support you. Okay, and so now what's important to talk about is actually who is part of the abortion industry. Obviously, Planned Parenthood is part of the abortion industry, but some other big organizations are NARAL, so that's a big name to keep in mind. Something called WOW, which is NOW, which is National Organization for Women. And then they have these annual events, so like the Women's March. I don't know if you guys have heard of that or been, but it's always held like either a week before or a week after the March for Life in DC. So it's in Washington DC, and it's basically like a counter protest to our March for Life, and it is largely feminist minded. You get a lot of feminist women in Hollywood who come and speak at this, like Scarlett Johansson. She's done a lot of fundraisers for them, making shirts and things like that. So you have a lot of these very media minded liberal people kind of leading it up, and actually they never have nearly as good of a showing as the March for Life gets. There's always way less people, but it always gets more publicity, obviously, because the media wants you to believe that the whole world is pro-choice, but that's actually not true. So it's good to just know these organizations, and then to also know where on your campus, which organizations and student groups on your campus are supporting these, because you do want to know what events to go to that kind of counter protest, like you guys did on the 13th, which was awesome. So you just want to know like which groups in your school are promoting these organizations so that you can be there to kind of counteract, and then also to set up tables at your school to be like the pro-life table, to actually raise awareness of what's going on in Planned Parenthood, with NARAL, with the feminist movement, and how they're kind of feeding this argument and this belief that women need abortions. It's actually not true at all. Like women empowerment, female empowerment is really telling women they can be moms and still pursue their dreams. So you want to kind of be talking to people about this, like, why do you think abortion empowers women? And in the end, they're going to see, okay, it's actually not empowering them, it's just telling them they have to choose one or the other. But that's not true. Women don't have to choose between. We should be providing them with the support and the help they need to do both, which is why we have the Standing With You initiative on campuses to make it easier for moms to actually go to school, for pregnant and parenting moms to be at school, so helping them with fundraisers, getting the money to pay for their schooling, getting parking spots, getting diaper changing tables on campus, just showing women, okay, actually there's the Aid to Women Center at ASU and not Planned Parenthood. There's a lot of options, so it's really good to raise awareness of that and to know where the people are who are abortion minded, so you really can have these conversations about why they think what they do and kind of help to persuade them otherwise. That's why you have those apologetics trainings, so you can talk to people and kind of do your best to change hearts and minds on campus of these people who are abortion minded. Okay, so once you kind of know who these organizations are, then you want to go delve deeper into making an impact against these places. So like I said, one of the main things to do is to peacefully protest outside of abortion facilities where the abortions are happening. I don't know if you guys have heard of Abby Johnson, but she is the woman who inspired Unplanned, wrote that book. She actually she was a director at Planned Parenthood for 7 years, and she actually said that whenever there was someone on the sidewalk, patients for abortions went down 80% every single time there was someone there. So it might not seem like standing out in front of a clinic is going to make a difference, but it really does. Obviously, the bigger group you have can be very good. You want to have strength in numbers, but it's really important to be very peaceful and to make sure that you don't overwhelm the women. So sometimes it's good to have, if it's a big group, to have some people standing off to the side praying, and then only have a couple people standing in the entryway with the resources that they can, signal to the women to roll down their window and to offer them literature about the pregnancy centers in the area and how you can help them in ways that you can kind of give them an alternative to abortion. So make sure to not overwhelm them, be very peaceful. You don't want to go with like graphic images and loud megaphones like some people do. Like, you want to be very loving, and the key is to show the woman that you're there for them first. So we always say, mom, baby, God is the order. You want to show the mom first that you're there for her, to help her to see her options and to give her the support she needs for her and for her baby. So you want to kind of really be, pushing to her, this is your baby and this is part of you. Make her like kind of preach to her emotions and make her realize it's a person, but make her realize that while also making it very clear that you're there for her above all. And then, it is a child of God, and also the mother is a child of God, and you want to be helping them because, you want to be doing the right thing, and every person has life for a reason that God has given them. So you can speak to God last. Like, that is why we do it. That's part of why we do it, because we know that every person is made perfectly and beautifully by God, and he has a plan for them. But really be focused on the mother first and let her know that you're there for her. And that's why holding the like really graphic images is not really helpful, because a woman's gonna see that and just be afraid or angry at you, and she's gonna want to like flip you off or not listen to you. But if you like come to her with a very compassionate heart, it's going to be very effective. So and then so being at the facilities, just tabling at schools, and setting up tables, trying to bring in a speaker who's going to speak against the abortion industry and let people know what they're doing. That's a really great way. Boycotting local businesses is a big one. It's hard to do because there are so many big businesses now that support Planned Parenthood, like Target and Starbucks and all these places that we love to shop, and it's difficult. But as best you can, try to support local businesses that are not supporting those things. I mean, and some businesses are private local businesses. You can tell right away if they're very liberal or not. Just trying your best to not give support to places that are giving their money to Planned Parenthood. actually, yeah, like Wells Fargo, Honda. It's like there's actually a list. You can go online and just look up the list of industries that give to Planned Parenthood, and it'll come right up. So doing your best to not support those places is another way to be impactful. And then, like I said, trying to cut ties with Planned Parenthood. So actually, I have a student who is working to get rid of a um, a sex ed program in her school that is very pro-choice, and it is pushing teen teen sex and use birth control and all this stuff. It's clearly pushing that for the sake of getting clients into the abortion clinics. It doesn't say anything about the importance of abstinence till marriage, things like that. That's what we should be helping kids know, is that the best way to prevent teen pregnancy is by abstinence. No, they're telling you, no, the best way to prevent teen pregnancy is with condoms. And clearly they're just trying to gain clients. So it's really good if you know of, curriculums and things on your campus that are very much promoting promiscuity and also just things that will lead to, promoting birth control. You're going to want to try to counteract that as best you can. It's obviously easier in a high school to know exactly what curriculum because you're not taking those classes, but there might be a women's studies on your campus, and there might be very liberal teachers. You could maybe try to plan, keep track of maybe events they're going to host, and kind of be there to be the opposition and to raise awareness. Okay, so yeah, a way to, like I said, just make sure that you're very nonviolent in what you do. You're not going to impact people by coming at them just wanting to be factual and being angry at them. So just be very direct in your engagement, but very kind. And always with the intention of reducing the customers and the influence of the abortion providers. So you want to reduce access. And one way actually to really reduce access is by closing these clinics. So it's really difficult, but the more faithful you are in going week by week by week to these abortion clinics, like I said, if it really is going down 80% every time you're there, and you're there as much as you can be, these clinics are definitely gonna lose customers and lose business. So the more you can get them to lose business, the more likely they will be to close. And actually, in my state or my city of Tempe, an aid to women center opened up right by Planned Parenthood, and it ended up closing like only a few months later because they just were losing business so much. So the more you are there, you are going to be helping them lose business. Just like when you're boycotting the places that are giving money to the clinic, that's going to make them lose business as well. So you just gotta fight with that and really work to make a difference just little by little. And the more people you reach out to and talk to about these things, you will make a difference if you are coming to them with facts about these clinics. And if you go to Check My Clinic, actually, you can go to checkmyclinic.com and look up the different clinics in your area, the abortion clinics, and it'll tell you different info about those clinics and whether they've passed like health inspections and things like that. So it's really good to try and find out about the clinics in your area to let people know, actually this clinic sent a woman to the emergency room because of a botched abortion, or this clinic fails to sanitize their instruments, things like that. The more you raise awareness of that, the better. So that's really effective as well. So as you know, 3,000 babies a day are dying from abortion, and not only are the babies dying, but also women are being hurt by abortion. So it's really, that is why it is important to be exposing the injustice of abortion, because you really are saving one life at a time every time you change someone's mind about, going into that clinic. Every baby that you save is so important. And that baby could end up growing up and getting married and having more and more babies. So it's really just every time you change a heart on abortion, you are making a difference. So it's important to just think about why you're doing this. It's to really be helping these women who feel like they're in crisis, who feel like they don't have support. If they know that they're supported and that you're there for them and that they have these supportive services to help them, they're going to change their minds 9 times out of 10. I'm certain of it. I really think that most women they don't know that they have people there for them, and that someone wants them to have their baby. I think I've heard that women say, if I just had one person tell me not to have an abortion, I wouldn't have. So just being that voice as much as you can, helping women. And it's really good to be vocal on social media as well, through Facebook and Instagram, just like making these posts about, empowering women to choose life for their babies, that they can do both. We have someone in our communications department. He actually, a girl in his high school, or either his college or his high school, she chose not to have an abortion simply because of the posts he was putting on Facebook about how women do have the power to raise their babies and can do it, and you can have both, and there is support. So he would just post materials and resources and encouragement to these women, and just by doing that, he saved a life. So really, anything you do to raise awareness by talking to these people on social media, just showing that you're getting out there and praying and that you are there for people, they're gonna hear that, and feel supported. So we've talked a little bit about this already, sidewalk counseling. Like I said, former abortion. Oh, whoops, sorry. I forgot that skips. Former abortionists and abortion workers like Abby Johnson say that sidewalk advocacy is the most devastating part um, of what will counteract their work, is when people are on those sidewalks with those signs, being there for the women, and talking to them, and just and the sign really isn't like, so this one says pray to end abortion, 40 days for life. You can a really good one is just to have like a sign about abortion pill reversal and where to call to get that service. Simple things like, I'm here for you and your baby, but always very encouraging signs, and words. Really good to just be there on the sidewalk. And even if it's just you, like, we always encourage you not to go alone, because it's good to have a support system, like one person praying and one person passing out literature. But if there are times where you're the only one, even just going and standing there, with your rosary or with your sign or whatever you use, it is going to be effective, because people are going to see you there. I have done this by myself so many times, and I still get honks. Sometimes I kneel so it's obvious what I'm doing, or sometimes I hold the sign, or sometimes I sing, and you get a lot of people honking, or some people will even just come up and thank me, and it's just me. So it can be done. You can make a difference, just you, but also you want to try to have strength in numbers and as many people there as you can. Always meet the mom where she is. If she wants to talk to you about why about her circumstance, be there to really listen and to hear her first. And then to try to help her and just show her that you're there. And then sometimes they'll even let you, like, if you show them the material, they'll let you drive them to the place that you have resources for them. So yeah, just make sure you're abiding by the law. So you're staying on the sidewalk. You can't be actually, like, you can't go into the driveway or anything, or else that's violating. But as long as you stay on the sidewalk and you don't block the driveway, you are good to go, and you just can kind of stand there and be ready for the women. So it's just really good to be, as patient and as open as you can. And I know it can be intimidating, so don't worry. God will just say a prayer before you start. God will give you the words that you need, and just be there to listen to her and to help her with anything she needs. And a lot of the time they're not going to listen, and they're not going to roll down their window, but you will get people to respond the harder you work. So just it's good to just be persistent and to keep going, and to trust that even if you don't see the fruits are there. So we have a National Sidewalk Day every day, or every year. I think this year it's going to be in August. That's a really great thing to do, is even if you're not counseling, just to, we have like chalking events where we get as many people as we can, and they just line the sidewalks and hold signs and chalk things like, I'm here for you, you can do this, you've got this, numbers for help that is available. So really just any kind of thing you could do to raise awareness. It's really good to go in a place where there's going to be a lot of cars, because it just raises awareness. These signs will make people think more about, oh yeah, abortions are happening right now, and I can be a person standing up for life. That's really important to show that. And so any kind of time that you can have a big group and get out there and show your support of the pro-life movement can be very helpful. So yeah, just so we have a sidewalk day, and you can do that in any city. So are doing the Pro-Life Future campaign, and we're going to have a sidewalk day in the 19 cities, but also you as a group could just plan to do a sidewalk day in your community. Just get people to come and to bring signs and chalk and maybe bring donuts so people have food, and just make like an awesome event of it. It's really effective, and also it can get people just so much more excited when they have the support of their peers and yeah, other people telling them like it's not just you, like I'm here too. And then also the more young people that these women see going in, like if a lot of these girls are very young, and they are, if they see people their age standing there protesting and like and being there to support them, they're going to be impacted for sure. Okay, so as you know, we're in the 40 Days for Life campaign, which is why we're having this, just to prepare you for that. 40 Days for Life is throughout Lent, so as often as you can go, I would say I would encourage you to go. I'm going to be going Friday and Saturday. If any of you are in Arizona, I'm going to be at the Friday clinic, or on the Tempe clinic on Friday mornings, and the Glendale clinic on Saturday mornings. But really, just whenever you have time, if you know of a clinic in your area and you can, you have the time to just go there and say a few prayers, stand out there, even just for 30 minutes. It's really effective. And then this gives the idea of just adopting a day. So planning one day that your whole group is going to go together and even stay for like 5 hours. So you go from like 7 to 11, you counsel, you pray. And then you gather for dinner at the end. It can be a great bonding experience, but also a way for you to be very effective. The longer you're there, obviously, the more you're going to impact. And it's really good to kind of know when the surgical abortions happen. That's when they're going to get a lot of traffic. So trying to go on one of those days and stand out there and counsel women and be there with resources is really helpful. So if you guys ever are all together and you want to plan just a day to do that, that would be very good. And also, it's important to point out that you're not just helping the moms, you're also helping the workers and the local businesses. You're wanting to kind of make them aware of to not support Planned Parenthood. And then for workers especially, Abby Johnson, like I said, she worked there for 7 years. And after seeing an abortion for the first time on that monitor, she had a change of heart. And who did she go to? Sidewalk Advocates for Life, who had been there day after day after day in Texas, on the sidewalks. She knew who to go to because she had seen her opposition. So the more you are there telling these workers there are options for you, we can help you to get a different job. If they ever do decide, okay, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore, they're going to know to come to you. And Abby Johnson did start a program called And Then There Were None, and that is her program that she has started for Planned Parenthood workers to get them out of the industry. A lot of these girls who work there are clients, so girls who came in for abortions before, they end up hiring them and recruiting them to encourage other women to have abortions. And a lot of them are filled so much with guilt and confusion over what they've done that they don't feel right to tell women, you don't need to have this abortion, you can do better, because they're saying, well, I already did it, so who am I to judge? Who am I to tell them that they cannot have an abortion if I already did? So Planned Parenthood kind of thrives on using women who have been their clients and who feel guilty or feel obligated to them in some way, because they know that's how they're going to get more and more people in there. So just really trying to help the workers see that there is an alternative for them and there are other options for work, because no one actually grows up saying or is raised and then says, I'm going to be an abortion worker someday. No, of course not. No one wishes to be in that situation. I really do think most of these women are desperate or really feel somehow that they're doing something good. So you really have to show them this isn't a service to women, this is hurting women, and it's adding pain to their current pain, and it's killing babies. So but very gently and calmly kind of just let them know there are other options for you. I'm here if you want to talk. You don't have to be in this job. And you never know who you will impact, because people didn't know that Abby would ever change her mind, and look what happened. So abortion worker outreach. Sorry, I'm going ahead of myself, but so this is more about how to approach these women. So just make sure you're very open and kind. Just let them know your name. Let them know that you, wish them a good day. Let them know that you appreciate them and that that they don't have to do what they're doing, and you can help them to find the alternative. Sidewalk chalking loving messages to the workers is really helpful, but you can only do that on public sidewalks, so make sure you know which ones are public and which ones are not. So yeah, like I said, and then there were none is the main program to go to help women. So let them know. Even have a sign. There are signs for then there were none, so you can go to that website to get signs to help these workers, and that can be something that you hold at the clinic to help them. Just always smile and be ready to talk to them, and maybe one day they will reach out, and smile back to you and want to talk. So yeah, it's really important to just be there for the women, be there for the babies, but also be there for the workers, because the more workers you can get to leave, that's another clinic that you're going to close down. And like I said, even just holding a sign, a loving sign, and having resources is going to be effective. So you never know whose mind you're going to change. And I really do think that just standing there will be people who see you and drive past and decide, I'm not going to have an abortion because that one person was there today asking me not to. I don't know if you've seen Juno. It's a great pro-life movie about a teen pregnancy, and when she's going into the clinic, there's a girl there saying, all babies want to get born. And she tells Juno, like, your baby has fingernails at this stage. It can feel pain and it has fingernails. And that's all she says. And when Juno goes in, she's seeing people scratch their arm and tap their fingers on a table, and writing with their fingers. And she has this instantaneous change of heart, and she runs out of the clinic. And it's only just because one girl was there telling her about her baby. Your baby can feel pain. At this stage, your baby has a heartbeat. Your baby has all of its organs. Like, it's so good to just be out in front of the clinic, just telling women these things and making her baby seem more real, and because it is real. And they're kind of in denial, saying, okay, no, it's not a baby, it's my body. But it is a baby, and they know that it is deep down, and they're just kind of in denial about it. So just kindly helping them to open their eyes and not be in denial, you will make an impact, and you will help them. And you might not always help someone, they might not always listen to you, but there will be times when they hear you and they say, wow, this is a baby with fingernails and a heartbeat and a full body and organs, and it's just very small, and I'm supposed to be its protector. And they will have a change of heart. So just being there to stand as a witness is so important. So these are ways that you can expose the industry, which we've already talked about. But yeah, just having flyers at school about the places in your community that are actually opposing the abortion industry, sidewalk chalking, like I said, posting a display. So coming to your school with fetal models and saying, this is what a baby looks like at each stage, which I know, I think we're going to give a training on that eventually as well. But having a table saying, this is what a baby looks like at each stage, this is what it looks like at 2 weeks. It's not a clip of cells, it's just a very, very, very tiny human embryo. And just kind of making it clear to people, do you see how it looks like a baby so soon? Because it is a baby. Hosting a speaker, like I said. So having people like Abby Johnson, like Kristen Hawkins, like Stephanie Gray coming to your school to talk about what abortion is, how to impact the abortion industry, how to raise awareness about what it's actually doing, and bring it down community by community. The more communities come together to open people's eyes about what's happening, the more we are going to affect. So you want to be very much educating people on what Planned Parenthood is doing, on how really they are profiting off of using women and convincing them that they need something that they don't need at all. So, and advocating laws that would defund Planned Parenthood is super important. So, when Trump was in presidency, I always forget, I think it's the Title X, but he was able to get rid of a lot of money that was going into Planned Parenthood and get rid of taxpayer-funded abortions. Now it's going to be really hard to battle that. Biden is really pushing for taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to birth. So we really we need to be trying to lobby and raise awareness for any kind of legislation, state by state, that is counteracting that extreme abortion position. We want to be lobbying for people who are fighting for life and are trying to put limits on abortion. Like South Carolina, they just passed the heartbeat bill saying that once a baby has a heartbeat, it cannot be aborted. And the more we can get stuff like that fought for and planned out, the better. Because state by state, I mean, abortion is a state by state issue. When Obama was in presidency, even though he was very pro-choice and a very liberal president, during his presidency, state by state, they were fighting harder than ever to put limits on abortion. And so actually during his 4 years as president was the lowest number of abortions in our country. And that's because we were fighting at the legislative level, on a state level, to ban abortions and to defund of the abortion industry. So the more we can fight for that, we are going to make a difference and have a huge impact. Because I mean, it's crazy to think more abortions happened under Trump's presidency than under Obama's, but I think that really is the case because, like Abby Johnson said during our Stand for Life event, I think Republicans kind of went into panic mode. You know, they said, okay, we have a liberal president, we need to be fighting harder than ever to push the pro-life movement. And so what happened? They made a ton of progress. We need to be fighting with that tenacity, no matter what and no matter who is in office, whether it's a Republican or liberal, pro-choice or pro-abortion, or pro-life. We should always be fighting as hard as we can to affect the abortion industry on a state level and really make a difference. It shouldn't matter who's in office. So I was just inspired when I heard that, like, wow, under Obama we had the lowest, and it's just because we were fighting. That makes me even more on fire to fight as much as I can to impact the abortion industry and to raise awareness of what they're doing and decrease the funds that they're getting and the clients that they're getting and their ability to be offering these abortions. Okay, so now when we know what to do, we need to figure out how to do it. So we want to be counteracting on all of these levels. So like I said, making sure you know who on your campus is pro-choice, which organizations, and any events that are happening, you want to be there for rapid response, to set up a table, to talk about the opposition. And you can figure that out if you don't know which groups on your campus are pro-choice. You can go to feministcampus.org/start-a-group/find-a-group. So if anybody's taking notes, I'll give you a second to write that down so you can know how to look up who in your campus is fighting for the pro-choice movement, so that you as a group and as a community kind of build up people to counteract that, and to just, you know, it's always good to come with flyers for pregnancy centers. Try to bring speakers on, try to table with fetal models, and even just tabling about Planned Parenthood itself, really exposing what they're doing. It's really important to be exposing the truth about Planned Parenthood that a lot of people don't know. So even tabling for what Planned Parenthood is and why we don't need Planned Parenthood is huge. And I actually, we have those tables. So there's a list on the list of trainings at the bottom. There's a list of what tables we offer. So let me know if there's any tabling you want to do. I can try to come out to your campus once you're in person. And then also right now, while you're not in person, having Zooms like these with pro-choice minded people is really helpful. I have a student group that's doing that on Monday. They're actually, they're bringing in pro-choice students to kind of have a debate. And if that's kind of what you have to do right now because you can't reach out on campus, finding these groups and saying, hey, let's have a discussion. If anybody's willing to do that, that could be an amazing forum to really kind of fight both ways and see, you know, kind of argue for your position and really make them think about why they are pro-choice and what they're standing up for. Because most people in the end will realize, especially now with all the science that we have, that's why the future is anti-abortion, is now science is making it impossible to deny this is a baby from the moment of conception. And once they see that, you realize, okay, you're promoting infanticide kind of, and eventually a lot of the time these pro-choice people, for the sake of argument and for the sake of not going back on what they've been saying, they do sometimes say, fine, I'm pro infanticide. And when you can like stand and when you can sit there and talk to these people and get them to admit that, that really opens people's eyes to kind of how radical the pro-choice movement is, the pro-abortion movement. Because a lot of these people in the end, they really are saying that a baby's life is not as important as an adult's life because they're dependent, because they're weak. And the more you can get people to admit that, the more people are going to see, okay, this industry is fighting for killing not even unborn babies, but also babies outside of the womb, because there are radical abortionists who really do say killing a baby, up to birth, even past birth, if you don't want to have the baby. Like there are people who have been pushing, let's abort the baby up to a year if the parent wants, because maybe they don't know they want to be a parent, and then maybe they become a parent and they realize I don't want the baby, so I'm going to get rid of it. People are literally trying to even push for that. So when people are seeing that extreme position, the more you're raising awareness about that, the more people are going to take a step back and say, what am I arguing for? How can I be on the side of the pro-abortion movement when really they are pro-murder? Um, so, and then just knowing who on campus is really fighting for that, you'll want to see the need on your campus and how you want to affect what needs most work on your campus for fighting the industry. So if it's, pregnant on campus initiative, so you want to reach out more to women on campus who are needing that support, or you have a feminist group that's really pushing, trying to get as much birth control as possible at women's disposal. I think some colleges have now had like you can literally DoorDash the abortion pill, which is and birth control, which is just crazy. I mean, they just want it to be like on demand all the time. So finding out what things in the pro-choice industry are being pushed and are very prevalent, and combating that on your campus. So identifying the need, one of the ways, like I was saying, is having those sidewalk days, having fundraisers for women who need help, setting up tables. So this is not specifically a sidewalk counseling training, even though I feel like I've gone into that a lot. But if you want, we can try to get even just getting a sidewalk advocates team member to come and give a talk. And I actually used to do sidewalk advocacy, so I can try to, I was trained with Sidewalk Advocates for Life, so maybe I can give a more in-depth talk on specific sidewalk counseling. Let me know if you feel like you need any questions answered about that, or if you feel like we've covered that enough. But yeah, just identifying the need of what your community needs most to be raised, to have awareness be raised about what the abortion industry is doing. Our pro-life future campaign is specifically for showing what the abortion industry doesn't offer, and how supportive services and these organizations that are helping women have so much to offer. We're really Planned Parenthood and NARAL and all these places, they're pushing just abortion. And the more you can make it clear to people that they're not here to support women, that they're just here to make a profit off of killing babies, the better. So like David Delighted, he is that journalist who showed and took video of them and images of them selling fetal parts for science and making money off of that. That's obviously an extremely brave, and that doesn't often happen that someone can do that, but that was a way that he exposed what is going on in the abortion industry. The more you can expose what they're doing, like Lila Rose, who went into these clinics when she was 16 and posed as a pregnant teen and got on video what they were doing and how they weren't offering anything besides, okay, let's get you in for an abortion. She was able to expose them by video. And what happens, like they can't go back on that. So she made it clear what they were doing. And as a result, she was like banned from, they had pictures of her up everywhere saying, do not let this girl anywhere near our clinics, because they knew she was telling the truth about them. So the more you can expose them, the better. I don't know if you guys have heard of Autumn Lindsay, but she became very famous from responding to an article done by Vogue, which very much promoted teen abortion. Um, they came out with this gift bag of goodies and this plan for what you do after an abortion and how it can be fun and empowering. And if you guys want to watch it, you should just look up Autumn Lindsay responds to Teen Vogue. She gives an amazing, it's like 10 minutes, and it's just this amazing talk showing how the media and the abortion industry is trying to push abortion as something that's really amazing and empowering and exciting, when really it's like incredibly just painful and horrific for these women. And so many women come out of it being suicidal, being addicts, just feeling so alone, feeling so much like they can't go back. And that's what we need to be telling women, that women regret their abortions, not that they feel empowered afterward. And I do encourage you to watch that video, because just hearing what Vogue said makes it very clear that they just don't care about women at all. They don't see what they're promoting, like the true horror of what happens during an abortion. They just kind of shrugged it off as this, oh, no big deal. And it is a very big deal. And she goes into that. So I would encourage you to watch that so you can talk to people more about just how horrific abortion is and how it does affect these women. So yeah, like another idea is just deciding on one day a week or one day a month to table. I know, once again, this is hard to do when you're not in person, but even tabling somewhere out in the community, or going to a church to talk to your church about getting involved, having having a week at school to raise awareness for proper human sexuality and how we should be promoting abstinence and waiting till marriage, and actually the beauty of what sex can be when done in, when performed for the sake of procreation of children. Theology of the Body is an amazing book written by John Paul the Great. And he talks very much about how sex is a beautiful thing, but it's something that God ordained for the sake of having a family and uniting spouses. And when you use it to use people, you just become very sad and lonely and feeling not worthy, and having, obviously, like, you can get diseases from it. It's very clear that it's unnatural to be using it as just a way to please oneself. It's so important to realize that it's for the sake of loving another and not for pleasing yourself. And the more we can be telling people that true fulfillment in sexuality is through love of another person and not through, like, the pleasure of it, it's so important. And the world is pushing that pleasure is all that matters, and that free sex and free, doing whatever you feel like in the moment is what you should do. No, we know that true love and true happiness comes from when we can sacrifice for others. So it's really important to be raising awareness to that and to the beauty of abstinence and waiting, and seeing that in a loving relationship, when it's monogamous and people who are actually wanting to make a family, that's going to be the kind of a relationship that actually fulfills you. Whereas these ones that are just kind of superficial and just for the sake of getting what you need in the moment or think you need in the moment, that's never going to fulfill you. Also, some of these pregnant health organizations, sometimes they will actually like come to your campus to give a training or to talk to you. You can volunteer at these organizations, and the more you volunteer, the more you can figure out like what they offer, and you're able to be more of a resource and a help to women who you ever do meet who are in crisis. So the more you can get involved with those is really helpful too. So if you and anybody else in your school wants to like join the initiative to volunteer, that would be a great way to help identify the need for women. And then you might sometimes need legal help, but really trying to get rid of Planned Parenthood initiatives on your campus, so like what this girl is doing, getting that curriculum out of school, it can be really hard to combat, and a lot of people are going to be upset that you're trying to push the truth about what Planned Parenthood is doing, but it's always good to fight, and you do have the freedom to do so. So if you do find opposition, you can always talk to us at Students for Life, and we'll help you get a lawyer if you find that, like, if you want to get a pro-life speaker and they're telling you no, 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 but they're bringing in all these pro-choice speakers, you can say, well, that's discrimination and that's not okay because this is a free college. So you can, push that. And if you ever feel like they're just being discriminatory because of the nature of your group, you can let people know that, and we'll help you with that. Sorry. And I think so. I would encourage you. I know we can't really do that right now, but if you want to discuss later in the week, or when, I don't know when. I know a lot of you are dispersed and no one's on campus, but if you did want to, like, talk more about how you think that you can virtually impact against the abortion industry, or with 40 Days for Life, if you guys feel like if there's a Planned Parenthood nearby that you feel like, okay, I'm ready to actually try this and get a group together, let me know. But yeah, make attainable goals, make plans for what you're going to do just week to week. It doesn't have to be huge. It can just be a small plan. I'm going to go to a clinic. I'm going to talk to my church about being involved with 40 Days for Life. I'm going to volunteer at the pregnancy center nearby my house. Little things like that. I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to make a video about what the abortion industry is doing and post that on my story, as they say. Things like that. So just be brainstorming ideas on how you can, like, even though it might be small scale, every little bit counts. So just be thinking about how you can impact, and then just update each other on what you're doing, and whether, you can always say, like, hey, I'm going to do this today if you want to join me. Again, I don't know where you're all located, but if some of you are in the same area, just keeping people aware of what's going on. I know you have an Instagram, so posting to your Instagram page, talking to each other about ideas you might have is really good. There is an opportunity for discussion time if anybody wants to discuss or has any questions or has any ideas. Feel free to speak up now.
What is the most memorable story you had during sidewalk counseling?
That is really hard. Let me think. It's hard for me to think back. I've done so many, and a lot of the time I'm just kind of I think actually there was one time where, actually, today was amazing because there were little kids there with me today, holding their signs, and they were just talking to me about their family and their adopted brother. So I love moments where I just meet people. I actually, during 40 Days for Life at the last campaign, I was there all day, every day. All day, every Saturday. So I went literally from 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And I was in a very intense area. So I would meet a ton of homeless people. Some of them in a lot of, like, very intense situations. So I actually had to call the emergency ER once for the paramedics for this man who was very sick. But I saw him like 2 weeks later and he was all better. So that made me happy because they just kind of stick around there. But I made very good friends with a girl who just, she knew I was there and she decided to come. She had never sidewalk counseled before. So she came to talk to me and spent the day with me. And just praying, they're the friends that you can make. To me, that's an amazing thing about it, is you do kind of build this amazing community. I unfortunately have never known specifically of a baby that I saved. And I'm very hard on myself, so I remember the times that I, didn't speak up. I remember one time there was a girl who came in. She looked like maybe she was about 14 or 15, and she was like in her PJs, and it looked like she was with her parents. And I just kind of, my eyes welled up with tears, and I was just devastated, and I didn't say anything. I just didn't have the courage in that moment to talk to them, especially because I was so disheartened that she was there with her parents. I wish so much to this day that I had spoken up, but I will say I am not as vocal as I should have been in the past. Like, past times before I had this job. I was not as vocal. I was more there, just praying. So like all the honks that we got were amazing, and we did hear about babies that were saved at the clinic that I used to pray at each week. Um, I would leave and find out that a woman there had seen us and had decided to come out, but it was often when I wasn't there. But unfortunately, I am just the kind of person who remembers the things that I didn't do. So it's very much made me work on being more brave and talking to women. And now that I am in this job and I am being more trained, um, I'm excited for the impact that I will hopefully have. Sorry, that was a very long-winded question. I don't think I really answered, but yeah, just the friends that I've made and what I've learned on how to impact people has been very helpful. But I will say that I am not someone who I am not proud of my timidness in the past, and I hope to change that. Timidity, I don't think timidness is a word. Yeah, does that answer your question? Or I wish I had more stories of like a time a woman said, "Thank you for being here today. I'm not gonna abort my baby," but that unfortunately has not happened to me, even though I know it has happened to people that I know and people that I have talked to. We actually had a baby save at Stand for Life, which was amazing. Someone decided to cancel their appointment because of the people that were there. So it does happen, but it has not happened to me, and I'm sure that's God. God's motivation for me to be more vocal, because even though I know I've made an impact, I don't have those as many of those stories. Is there anything I didn't touch on that anybody has a question about? I know that was a lot, and I'm sorry if I tend to not always get right to the point, but I feel like we touched on everything with industry impact. So if there's anything that you still feel like you have a question about, feel free to talk to me. I did try to bring up the specific points on sidewalk advocacy. So even though I didn't do like a whole training on that, because I know what sidewalk advocates does and how they kind of approach things, I feel like we did touch on that. But I think the most important thing is to just really to be present and to go as often as you can, because like Abby says, we got to be the boots on the ground. If we don't have people in front of these abortion clinics, we are not going to make as much of an impact, because that really is how you best decrease their clients and their ability to offer abortion services, is by being there, because the people will leave. So that's just as often as you can, I would say, try to go. Um, And then I just wanted to post this just about, I didn't type it in, but I did talk to you about the Stop Becerra effort. So if anybody wasn't here, if you go to stopbecerra.com, you can sign the petition to let them know that you don't want Becerra to be made the home health secretary. That is another way to be very impactful, because he's pretty much the most pro-choice secretary we will ever have. If he does get promoted, he'd be the most extreme of anyone that we've ever had as the home health secretary. So if you want to sign that or send a letter to your legislator to raise awareness for that, and let them know that you oppose that abortion extremism and that you don't want him to be elected, that is a way you can be a voice for the voiceless. Anything else? There's Kanye, shout out. um,
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It was really well.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope it was clear. You guys kind of feel like you know better how to navigate stuff. It's really, really hard to have these when you know you're not going to campuses. But right now, with 40 Days for Life and COVID, there's nothing better to do than, like, honestly, being on the sidewalks is going to be so impactful, and it's something you can do and still be social distance. So that's like a super plus. I've gone so many times, and no one ever gets upset. Like, the cops do not say anything because it's not illegal. As long as you're, I mean, you don't even really have to social distance anymore, at least in certain places. But as long as you're abiding by the rules, they can't make you stop, and you will make a difference. So really important to do that if you can.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that presentation. That was a lot of great info.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I look forward to assisted suicide next, but feel free to Instagram me with any questions. I'll try to be thinking of better stories I can give you for motivation. I know it can be scary to be on the sidewalks, and then you hear from me who like has not been as brave as I could have been. But I mean, great stories exist, even though I can't think of them right now, just because I mean it is hard to be there. And I don't often, yeah, like I said, I kind of often will go away with just feeling how I could do better, but that's just because it's in my nature to be hard on myself. So if you're someone who's like very encouraging and very confident, like I would say I'm not as confident, or I used to not be. I'm getting more confident. I'm working on it. But if you're someone who's very confident and feels like they are able to be not intimidated to talk to these women, you're kind of the perfect candidate to do this. You know, go with a friend who can kind of pray and be a support to you. But some people, it's just very much in their nature to be able to just to talk to these women and to not be intimidated. And so I would say if you feel like that's something that you feel called to and are not afraid to do, I would really encourage you to do it as much as you can, because it's really huge and it can really affect a woman's life if you're able to be there and be a friend to her and let her know that you're there. And if you have like a very commanding presence and you're confident and gentle, people will be drawn to you and will want to come talk to you. So I would just say I would encourage you, if it's on your heart to be doing this outreach, to kind of take the leap. It can be scary, but it's so amazing. To me, it's the thing in my life that I love the most, that I have the most passion for, and that even though it makes me cry a lot of the time because it hits me hard, I just feel in life that I have a very significant purpose, because I know what abortion is doing, and I have such a conviction to be fighting it, that there's not a day that goes by that I just don't feel you know, so empowered and full of purpose to fight in this mission. And that's a great feeling, to kind of know why God put you on the earth. You know, we often can be like, what are we here for? But I feel like I'm here to fight for the babies. And when I realized that, I was just so full of, you know, motivation and excitement. And it can be daunting, but there's never a day that feels wasted to me, never a day that feels wasted, because I'm just putting the energy into saving those babies. And if I can even just save one life, it's worth it. So I think if you guys think about that it's just one life, one more, one more, one more. Today I'll try to get one more, you know, like in Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if you've seen that, but Desmond Dawes, he's gathering all of his men trying to save them, and he's just saying, I gotta get one more, I gotta get one more. Or Schindler's List. Watch that too, because the end, it will make you, it's a very much a movie that parallels the Holocaust to what is happening with abortion. And at the end, he's just saying, I wish I could have got one more. And I just think about that every time. I don't know what I'm doing, just fight for one more life. And you will feel like you have a great mission, even if it's not always easy or you don't see the fruits. Just offering your life up in order to raise awareness and to help women is going to be so empowering for you. Sorry, that was a long spiel. Okay. Feel free to chat me if you have any questions on Instagram, or email me at jbritton@studentsforlife.org. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Awesome. I see you guys.
All right. Thank you.
You guys have a good one.
Bye-bye.